good? All right.
Can I try a little splash
All right.
of the new one?
So the slices might not actually be a good batch. There's some off flavors. It has a very distinct fake orange flavor to it, which is, we've had this before. That's not normally the case. So that might just be skippable in San Francisco as well. Sorry about that. I will have to open up another couple of cans and then possibly reach out to them. Moving on though, we're going back to Barrel House. This is just their straight up IPA. So again, found in 2013 in Slow. San Luis Obispo, the Slow Coast. They're actually, which they're trying to get that. Last time I was down there visiting a couple of vineyards, they were talking about how they're trying to get it as a recognized, like official California wine region, just called Slow Coast or whatever, which is pretty cool. But they're doing great things with wine, great things with beer down there. This is a bit higher in ABV. It's a 7.5. Definitely going for a West Coast style. They've got quite a mix of hops. Actually, I guess it's only 4, but they're doing Centennial, Simcoe, Citra, and Mosaic. They are going for a nice West Coast dankness. And that's a real fun beer, in my opinion. I like that guy. All right. AleSmith, their IPA. They are San Diego based. Hey Gio, how's it going? They're probably more famous for their stouts, especially their barrel-aged stouts. But they do multiple styles, and they're all pretty good. They've been rocking this since 1995, so they are kind of in that second wave of craft brewers, just after, you know, Sam Adams and Sierra Nevada are like the 2 big early ones. But AleSmith got in before it got really trendy, so they've got some provenance, they've got some reputation. More bitter tea notes to it to me. It's very earthy, almost has like kind of an Earl Grey thing for it, but very big fan of that. It also has a little more malt profile than a lot of the other IPAs that we've tasted already. So it's got like this like kind of striking, pungent hoppiness to it, but it also has this mellow, malty base as well. A little bit of caramel. Up next, we're gonna do 2 from Alpine. This is their Nelson IPA, 7% ABV. There's that. They are from Alpine, California. They were founded in 1999. They do a lot of pale ales and IPAs. They really are focused on hops. That's their jam. They don't mess around with old world varieties that much, or things that are too, you know, malty, dark, heavy winter beers. They don't even do a lot of sours.
It's a little loud.
We don't need that radio on. I don't think Alejandro was just walking by, but I don't think that was there. Could have been. Anyway, this is technically unfiltered, so it could qualify as a hazy. But they're trying to say that it is an unfiltered West Coast style. Again, IPA language is getting murkier by the week, it seems, with different combinations of styles that brewers are trying to do. This is completely made with Nelson Sauvin hops, which are from New Zealand. Dry hopped. They're using a European rye malt. But it is mostly has some of those tropical fruit notes, but very piney, very citrusy. Yeah, a lot of kind of fresh green flavors in that for me. Next up is their Duet. Also 7% ABV. Also a West Coast style, but this is filtered. It is not in any way, should not be mistaken for a hazy. It's got a few more bitterness units than the Nelson, so it is more hop forward, a little more aggressive. They're using Simcoe and Amarillo, so that hence the name Duet. It's just 2 hops, whereas the last one was just 1. You get a lot of the pininess, but then there's like some interesting other wood notes. Like there's almost kind of a cedary, or it's not quite like balsa wood, but that's a good piney IPA. Not Pliny, piney. Oh, we're so late. That's fantastic. I'm just gonna crush through some sours. We're doing Tank 7 from Boulevard. Farmhouse style. This is possibly no, it's not quite the strongest beer that we have, but it comes in at an impressive 8.5%, which it does not drink like that at all. It is very light, very refreshing. Beautiful esters coming out of that. Another very early craft brewer too. Boulevard started in Kansas City, Missouri in 1989. They ended up acquiring, I don't know how exactly, I haven't been able to find that out, but they got a bunch of brewing equipment from a brewery in Bavaria that was closing. So they've got all this old European-made brewing equipment. And ended up doing kind of a lot of more old school styles. They focus more on Belgian things, so they'll do a lot of farmhouses. They do some wild ales fermented with native yeast. They're also, aside from the Tank 7, their most popular beer is their bourbon barrel-aged quad that they do. So again, more inspiration from Belgium. Yeah, they're first they made a barrel of beer and then just like immediately delivered their pale ale to this Mexican restaurant down the street, and so it's just kind of been this even though they're pretty big now, it's been kind of this community cultural institution, which is fun. And then a little fun factoid for me is that in 2018 they designed a beer in conjunction with Tech N9ne, the rapper, who is based out of Kansas City, Missouri. It's ridiculous that person's involved in like making beers, honestly, but it's named after one of his songs. It's called Boulou. It's a wheat beer with pineapple and coconut. Just totally weird. I don't know. That tickles me, so I had to share. Nobody else in the world probably cares except for one of my friends from middle school. Next, we are doing Pacific Sunrise by Central Coast Brewing. Here we are getting fully into fruited sour style. This is a kettle sour that's brewed with pineapple, guava, and mango.
What's a kettle sour?
I really wish that my mouth was not full when you asked that, so I could have been like, it's this little thing you cook tea in. So essentially kettle sour is industry lingo for the quicker way to brew a sour beer. Normally sours take longer than other ales. Ales go a little quicker than lagers. Lagers you want to long ferment as much as possible, basically. A lot of sours you do want to ferment longer, or you oftentimes you're doing some sort of barrel or bottle conditioning. Kettle sour is a way to speed up the process. There are some folks that say that kettle sours are not as good because they kind of do a couple production shortcuts. But I've had quite a few of them that I really, really love. This one is one that I've been buying on repeat. It's got a little weird, kind of wild stinkiness to it, but then it makes sense. It's not an off flavor, at least in my head. That's another thing that kind of happens with sour ales for me. But really, really bright and citrusy. Next up, we're going to... Oh, I think I need to go to Laughing Monk. Yet another kettle sour. This one's out of San Fran. Mango Tangy. It is a kettle sour brewed with mango and tangerine, hence the name. So this is another quick brew, but full of flavor, really nice balance. It's just screaming to be drank for summer. Laughing Monk was founded in 2013, so they're not too old. They're east of Balboa Park. If you go directly and almost to the east coast of the San Francisco Peninsula, just really great brewery. They're churning out cool stuff all the time. They work with a lot of local community issues. They regularly donate to Pints for Paws. They have events helping stray animals and animal shelters stuff all the time. This is also one of the most popular breweries for the San Francisco store. So trying to keep us well stocked in their stuff. They rotate very quickly, and they do small enough production that sometimes they'll email me Monday with their products that are available for the week, and if I cut my PO late enough into a Tuesday, then they'll be like, sorry, we're out of that one. I'm like, no. So working on that a bit, but love them to death, and really enjoy that beer. Next up, we're doing, this is a little bit of a change from what I had originally planned, Plum Sour Nova. So last time we did have the apricot, which we still have the apricot in stock. The plum is their newest one, the one that is either just came out or is about to come out for the middle of the summer is their cherry sour nova. So again, they're buying this fruit from orchards when it's at peak freshness, and then they're doing barrel conditioning with the fruit added to it. They use a lot of fruit and they age it for a good amount of time. So it really, every single one of these that I've had, seasonally based, they're just so full of flavor. I really, really enjoy them every time, every new one that comes out. Yeah, that's good. This one is not a kettle sour. Almanac does go for that longer brewing method, brewing and fermentation. Next up, Celador. So this is another kind of more SoCal oriented brewery. This is their Happy Dagger. It is a wild ale with nectarine, vanilla, and jasmine, which they say on their website is a classic combination of flavors that they've always been interested in pursuing, but haven't until now. I didn't know that was a classic combination of flavors, but it smells and tastes great, so I'm not gonna bash them too much. What food scene are you in that's a regular thing that pops up? But it's a wild ale. They're using natural, just airborne yeast, wild yeast. That's one of the things that Celador is known for. They're also one of only a handful of breweries in the entire country that does 100% oak barrel aging. That is not time effective, it is not cost effective, but they do it for every one of their beers.
That's sour.
That's sour, right?
Yeah, that's sour.
That's cool beer. It's like sour.
Yeah, that's robust.
Think of, Japanese pickled plums.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does have like a pickly kind of thing for it.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love that so much. Yeah, we have 7 minutes, so we're gonna go fast because we have 4 more beers. All right, Almanac once again. This is their Hypernova series. This is number 5 in the series. So there is a similar process with as to their other sours, but kind of stranger combinations of flavors based on what they've done in the past. They're also more wood barrel aged as opposed to I think the rest of the Sour Nova series is steel barrels. This has plum, nectarine, vanilla, and just a touch of lactose. I don't always really like the lactose stuff personally because, you know, smoothie sours were popular for a hot minute. But it has a very strange textural thing where, like, a lot of times they're going for creaminess in addition to certain milky flavors, but a lot of times it comes off kind of grainy. But this one, whether it is because they're using just a little bit of lactose or because of the way that they're brewing and fermenting it, I don't get that from this. It's very complex, a lot of flavors, but they're all very integrated.
See, once again, you get that nectarine vanilla classic combination. Yeah.
You know, apparently
Missing the jasmine, though.
Celador and Almanac are really tapped into that. But yeah, we need more jasmine. No, I won't say that. It has the right amount of jasmine for that beer. All right, next, NorCal Love, one of the most important breweries in the country, if not the world, Russian River. They are, of course, very, very famous for Pliny the Elder, Pliny the Younger. We can't get enough of them anywhere at any of our stores, but they also have a very robust sour program. They were founded in 1997 by Korbel, of all people. Korbel Champagne.
Russian River?
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
not know that.
I did not know that either until the last couple of months. But yeah, founded in 1997 by Korbel. They had a master brewer, Vinny Salurzo. I'm hopefully pronouncing that correctly. I do not want to offend, because he's also one of the nicest people ever. I've met him a couple of times. For a long time, it was just him working at the brewery, and then eventually Korbel said, we're not into the beer thing, we're not going to do this. So they sold it to him and his wife. They're still the two owners. All the recipes they come up with, all the names and label designs they come up with, they work with artists to get stuff going, but it is so much this husband and wife team making all of these fantastic beers, and they've been doing it for decades now.
They must have sold it before it was called the best beer in the world.
Yeah, I think Korbel might actually be really regretting that decision nowadays with how popular their beers are. But yeah, I don't know. There's so much to say about Russian River Brewing and so little time. Next, we're going old school. We're going traditional. We are doing the Petite Barrel-Aged Sour from Brewery Verhage. They are popular for the Duchess de Bourgogne, a Flemish red ale, traditional Belgian dark sour. You totally see how crazy mahogany that is. The Petite is actually the friendlier, more approachable version of the Duchess. Slightly lighter and slightly lower in ABV, but just really good. They were founded in 1885 in West Flanders. One of my favorite stories about them is that Belgium was at least partially occupied very early on in World War I and II, I think. But anyway, when the Germans took over the area, they said, "Hey, brew us beer. We're Germans, we want beer, and we got a lot of soldiers who want to stay drunk and keep fighting," kind of thing. And they said, "No, we're not gonna brew you beer. We only want to brew stuff for Belgian people." And so the Germans actually completely dismantled their brewery. They didn't bomb it, they didn't destroy it. As far as I know, they didn't massacre any people or anything. But they're just all right, we're gonna take all of your brewing equipment and we're gonna repurpose it for whatever the heck we want. So they had to rebuild essentially after the war, but badass, just saying, no, we're not going to brew for you, we don't like you. And dear goodness, we are running such a tight wire here. We're going to Nightmare Brewing, Windlass of Erasmus. Black. What? How much black is in the name?
Blackberry, blackcurrant, and black sea salt.
Blackcurrant, blackberry, black sea salt. It's a ghost style, hence the salt. So it is a saltier sour. This is Nightmare Brewing is all about what they say is bringing together ingredients, death metal, and our horrific history into a cohesive liquid experience. All of their beers they're inspired by a historical story of some crazy torture or awful battle that happened, and all of their beers have a musical pairing. This one pairs with The Great Tribulation by Oceano. Hope you love it. Hope you drink it. Wish I could say more about it. But get to work, everybody. Love you.